Alright guys, so first off, I do need to point out that I'm going to sound a little stuffy. I'm kind of getting over being sick. But today we're going to check out SoundPEATS brand new neckband air conducting headphones, which are the SoundPEATS RunFree Lite. Now SoundPEATS is basically showing again what all you can get without having to spend a whole ton of money. Because if you've ever looked at some of these neckband headphones, a lot of them kind of float around $100. But right now, the RunFree Lites, which retail for $30, it actually has the little box you can check off on Amazon, which takes off a little bit of money. And then they've also sent a code for you guys to use, which all of this will be in the description, where you can now pick these up for only $20. And at $20, it's already a steal, but we're going to go over everything that these have to offer, what they sound like, and why basically I think it's a no-brainer for people to pick up at its current price. So first off, do understand that these are using air conduction instead of bone conduction. And really the difference between the two is bone conduction is what is the vibration that's trying to give you that sound, basically with the vibrations to the side of your head, where air conduction is just the direction of a speaker. So these kind of sit closer to your ear canal and it's just angled into your ears, but it leaves your ear canal open so that you're still aware of your surroundings. So obviously these are built to go on a run or ride your bike or take them to the gym and listen to your music, still be very aware of your surroundings. And also office environments are a great place to use these because you can hear what you're listening to if you're going to listen to a podcast or whatever, or just listen to music. And it's very hard for people around you to hear that you're even listening to music, but it's very easy for you to hear your surroundings. Now they are using 16.2 millimeter drivers. We'll talk about this a little bit more once we get into the sound. It's a very light headset because once you put them on, you kind of forget that they're on there. The back, which is the neckband part, is very flexible, but it is not very flexible on the pieces that go around your ears. It's meant to kind of stay stationary and stay at an angle where it's always pointed into your ears. So if anything, I can see that maybe this plastic over time, depending on what you're doing, might get a little aggravating right above the top of your ear. I did not experience this, but this is just still something that I wanted to point out. As far as the technology, it is using Bluetooth 5.3, which does an excellent job of making sure that you keep a stable connection, but it also does a good job of cutting down on any kind of lag when it comes to media. Even with gaming, if you're going to use them for that, Bluetooth 5.3 definitely helps, but this pair also has a gaming mode that you can switch into. So on top of Bluetooth 5.3, you can just cut down latency altogether by switching it into that mode. And you can do that just with the controls that are located on the side, or you can also download SoundPEATS app, which I already recommend doing anyway because that allows you to keep these updated. But it also has that adaptive EQ where you kind of go through a little hearing test and it will just try to give you an EQ based off some of the things that you were able to respond to. But I still personally just left it on the EQ setting that it came in out of the box. But in the app, you do have some other pre-built EQ settings and you can go in and customize the EQ settings that you want. So that's a lot of control over a pair that comes in being able to pick up for 20 bucks. Now, if you are looking to use this pair outdoors, it does come in rated at IPX4. Now, I would have liked to have seen it have a higher IP rating, because this is one of those that you would use outdoors. And I think IPX4 is just fine against splashes and rain and sweat and, light things like that. But if you're going to listen to them by the pool or if they happen to get heavily drenched, that IPX4 rating is not going to completely protect these. Now, as far as the actual controls and the charging port and all of that, it's all located on your right-hand side. There is a little flap that covers your USB-C charging port. Now, the only accessory that comes in the box is a USB-C cable because that's how you charge these. And then your buttons, you have 3 buttons located on the side. It keeps it extremely simple, and I am happy to say that they give you the ability to control everything. You have that multifunction button in the middle, and then you have the plus and minuses on the side, and all of these allow you to control your play, your pause, your ability to skip your tracks forward and backwards, your volume control, and also the ability to switch it into that gaming mode. So it is nice that you have all of those controls right out of the box. But going back to the charging, let's talk about the battery life on these pretty quickly, because these on a single charge, now this is using them without having them in the gaming mode, which would use more battery life, but you can get up to 17 hours on a single charge without having to charge these again. That's easily going to get most people through a day. This is obviously would fluctuate a little bit depending on how loud you're going to listen to them. And again, if you listen to them in gaming mode, it's going to drop it down quite a bit. But 17 hours is very impressive. If you're somebody that's looking for something to just use through a full day of work, this will easily get you through that no matter pretty much what mode you're listening to them in. And if you are going to use these for taking phone calls, I also think that the mics on here are doing a very good job of picking up my voice and also a decent job of blocking out my surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is a mic test using the RunFree Lite. And again, I was impressed at the overall quality that it's picking up my voice. I do notice some digital noise. I do notice it sounds slightly warm, but this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test for the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound. Now I do want to point out that on Amazon, it says that these have bass boost. It's basically what they already have added into the sound. This isn't like an additional feature or a mode that you can switch them into. And I was kind of surprised because air conduction headsets normally do sound like a speaker that's kind of far away but just pointed in the direction of your ears without any bass at all. And surprisingly, these do have plenty of punch in the low end. Now, it's just kind of simulating bass in my opinion. It's not relying on vibration like bone conduction, so it kind of has a slight warm sound to them. And again, that's surprising. I kind of expected these to sound tinny, but the mids and the treble have plenty of detail. They don't sound flat. They don't get buried by the bass because the bass isn't very overpowering. But the fact that the bass is there and the fact that it's not in your ear canal, you're not having to rely on a seal. Again, I was very impressed with the sound quality that these had. In fact, really, the treble didn't have this overly bright sound to it. The mids were pushed just slightly forward where vocalists always stood out. And with the bass having the presence that it does without having that overbearing presence, it just kind of sounded natural. It just sounded, again, slightly warm, but just not overly done on anything. And the soundstage and the sound imaging on these are excellent, but that's really by design. Obviously, it does sound very open because your audio is just kind of mixing in with your surroundings. And I had no issues with being able to tell where different sounds are coming from. So really, to break it down into the different categories, if you're somebody that listens to pop and hip hop mainly, this is the one area I would probably give it the lowest rating, and I'd still give it a 7. And that's mainly because you're not going to get that subwoofer type feel. You're not going to get that really, really aggressive bass that, most fans of these genres really like. But I still think the fact that it has the bass that it does and it's an air conduction headset, I still wanted to give it a pretty high rating. But if you're somebody that listens to rock and metal, this is a very fast headset. It keeps up with guitar riffs very easily. It picks up the double bass of the drums very cleanly. It just quickly moves on from one beat to the next. So for rock and metal, I would give these an 8. Now, if you're somebody that listens to more genres like easy listening and country and anything that's more vocal driven, I would give these an 8 here as well because I feel like the mids and the treble are probably represented the best. And if you're somebody that's looking for a headset like this to use for media, like movies or podcasts or videos or gaming, this is an area I would give these a 9. I mean, Bluetooth 5.3 and a gaming mode is basically trying to give you as little lag as they possibly can. And I really do feel like they nail it with this headset. So my overall rating on these is going to come in at an 8. And I think that is an extremely high rating for an air conduction headset. And maybe it's because I went in expecting these to not have bass. I did not expect these to work with SoundPEATS app. I did not expect them to have a gaming mode. So I just feel like they did a lot to offer a lot of features in a pair that you can pick up right now for only $20. I think it's kind of a no-brainer. It's one of those that's just nice to have when you're not using your normal headphones or earbuds, or if you just need to be more aware of your surroundings. I do wish that the hooks around the ears had a little bit of flexibility to them. And I do think that if you are a bass head head. You are going to want that, extra subwoofer type bass that these can't deliver, but that's mainly because the technology, the air conduction style headsets aren't meant to do that anyway. So guys, that wraps up my video on the SoundPEATS RunFree Lite. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.